Okay. So just letting you guys know, this session will be recorded and then uploaded to YouTube. I'll have it linked in the application directly, like right at the start. So it's like Friday evening. If you're tired, you might missed a few things. Perfectly fine. Feel free to access the recording later. Nonetheless, thank you so much for coming. We will have like a small little Q&A section at the end, which will not be recorded. So I encourage you to stay until the end and ask the project leads questions. There will be breakout rooms and you can talk to them in a smaller setting. All right, my name is Tapish. I'm the Vice President of Sustainable Housing at Cal, otherwise known as SHAC. And now the other board members here will go around and introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Karis. I'm a senior architecture major and co-president of SHAC, and also director of THIMBY.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a third year studying sustainable environmental design and legal studies, and I'm the director of media and also co-president.
Hi, I'm Gail. I'm a senior studying environmental economics, and I'm also a vice president and director of consulting.
Right. So SHAC is basically an interdisciplinary group of undergrad and graduate students here at Berkeley that focuses on sustainability in the built environment. Tabish, that sounds like a bunch of buzzwords. What exactly do you mean by that? Right. Well, we mainly divide ourselves into four sub-teams to accomplish that. Um, let's have Thimby talk about what they do. It's very briefly.
Yeah, so in THIMBY, we focus on tiny house design and construction, sustainability, and affordable housing policy, specifically through ADU design.
And concrete, that's like a portmanteau of concrete and creation. That's mainly the community-based participatory design team. You'll learn more about that later on. And Gail.
Yeah, so consulting is environmental policy work. We work with local nonprofits and city governments in the Bay Area. We've done a lot of work with the Zero Waste Commission with the city of Berkeley. So yeah, it's sustainability research and housing policy. Um, yeah, a lot of policy development and implementation. So.
And the media works to kind of show what SHAC does, do a lot of outreach. We work with the companies who sponsor us and give us their products, as well as like newsletters, news outlets in the area. We've done interviews before with like council members and do a lot of website work, kind of just anything that involves graphics or design.
All right, so first we're going to have to talk about Thimby. Karis will take it from here.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about the tiny house in my backyard team, also called THIMBY. So what we do is we aim to design and construct a cost-effective and scalable model for full amenity tiny home ADUs to provide extremely affordable and permanent housing to working unhoused individuals and small families. And we do this in three ways. First, by sustainability through design, for example, using reclaimed materials, efficient appliances, and locally sourced wood. Second, through workforce development, specifically student professional growth by teaching you guys how to actually build these homes. And third, through wealth building for both the homeowner and the person living in the ADU. So just a little bit of history on Thimby. Their first project was in 2014, which was a tiny house design competition. Oh, next slide, please. Their second was a bus retrofit for a mother in Richmond. And their third is THIMBY 3.0, with the goal to pilot the City of Richmond's Tiny House on Wheels ordinance. So our current and ongoing project is THIMBY 3.1, which is the second iteration of this. And our goal is to provide affordable and permanent housing, maximize land use by building ADUs in the backyards of single-family homes, minimize energy, water, and new material usage through building design, and develop a training program surrounding the home's construction for students such as yourselves. And the image shows the design that our team put together last year. So some recent highlights are that we got a $44,000 grant from the Green Initiative Fund at Berkeley, which is super exciting. We also started a partnership with Thermosteel, which is a company that manufactures steel insulated panels. And they're going to be teaching us how to construct with these. And this is really important because of how they're energy efficient and fire resistant. And lastly, we are setting up a site at the Richmond Field Station to hopefully start construction in October. And these photos are from a tour we had at Thermostyle last semester. So the green line shows the timeline for the 3.1 project. In September, we'll transition into our roles. In October, we'll have a workshop with Thermostyle and then hopefully begin construction at the end of October. Some of our members are also working on a 400 square foot detached ADU design for Butte County, and this will be a demonstration project as permanent housing for people living at 30% median income. So as a part of this team, you get to work on some really cool real world projects. And so what we're looking for is effort to learn and commitment. We're looking for people with interest in very specific roles of drafting and material procurement. Drafting would entail using Revit to create drawings and designing MEP systems. And material procurement would mean doing outreach, contacting companies, finding sponsors, and doing research on sustainable materials that we can use for our builds. And commitment obviously is going to take a lot of time. Once construction starts, we'll be going out on the weekends to build. We have weekly meetings on Wednesdays, and you're going to be working in subgroups to complete specific tasks. And these are some of our partners. 10 Makers is our main nonprofit partner who has been guiding us throughout the design and construction process. And the other ones are some product sponsors we've had in the past.
So,
Okay, so,
sorry, Noe, the
mhm.
project manager of Concrete, is unfortunately not able to make it today. So, Karis, who remembers on Thimby, not Concrete, will now talk about Concrete.
Yes, I will be talking from Noe's perspective. Next slide, please. So we are formerly known as the SD team for our past participation in the US Solar Decathlon competition. However, in 2022, we took a turn towards a focus in community design, leading to our rebrand of Concrete. Concrete represents our mission of co-creating concrete solutions, emphasizing collaboration and tangibility of our work, as well as a play of concrete and some of its negative environmental impacts. Community design or participatory design is design that engages its stakeholders and users throughout the entire process. And through a series of engagement activities, workshops, and surveys, we empower the community to share their needs, values, and visions, and we address community feedback to design for and with them. In doing so, we intend to transform spaces into places that foster identity, community, and resiliency. We also prioritize sustainability, which has previously taken form through adaptive reuse, sustainable sourcing, and use of recycled materials. So last year, we partnered with the Samoan Community Development Center in San Francisco to revitalize an old school building that they use as a community center. We first surveyed the community and facilitated workshops to learn how the center was used and what the priority for the project scope would be. Listening to these voices and needs, the project focused on the courtyard space. So here are some examples of how we engaged the staff and community of SCDC to learn how they use the space, what worked, what didn't, and what they envisioned. This was a collage activity where participants were given a blank plan of the courtyard and arranged images, drew, and wrote what the inspired space would look like and provide. The top right image shows some design work the team did, putting together all the feedback received in workshops. And our design process can take many forms, not just being formal plans and drawings, but representations that convey the voices of the community. Unfortunately, due to budget constraints, we were unable to revamp the entire courtyard. The benches were voiced as one of the biggest priorities as SCDC hosts a large summer youth program that frequently utilizes the outdoor space. On the bottom are the benches that we built, partially using wood from a recycled lumber yard, and both design and construction of the benches were done collaboratively with participation of members of SCDC. Oh, sorry. Yes. So one project that we will be working on this semester is our partnership with Berkeley Student Farms, located just off campus downtown. With the farm community, we will design and build a little free library. We began initial engagement last semester to start thinking about potential sites to place the library and what it would be used for example, books, zines, and pantry for produce. We also began conversations about who the library would be accessible to, its mobility, and potential opportunities to use or upcycle materials from the farm. Images on the right show an imaginative activity we did with the community to start envisioning the library, and a site walk led by the community to look at potential locations. We will be continuing engagement with the farm community to make design decisions and bring this project to realization, and we envision that this project will be a semester long with the goal of finishing construction by the end of the semester. Another partnership we will be beginning is with Safe Organized Spaces Richmond and working to revamp their wellness center, Safe Harbor. SOS Richmond is a nonprofit organization that works to support and empower the unhoused community and offers a variety of programs and resources, both indoor and outdoor, at their facility. SOS Richmond has expressed prioritizing improving heating and insulation of their indoor space by winter while keeping programs operative. This could potentially include some form of DIY radiant heating, flooring, and panels. If anyone has a background with engineering or heating, they would be a great asset to the team on this project and a way to gain hands-on experience. Another way we may provide SOS Richmond with support is through helping with grant writing or finding funding opportunities. And through the goal of the heating project to be completed by winter, we envision this partnership to be ongoing, as SOS Richmond has voiced that there are many other spaces and needs to be addressed in the future. Once again, no formal design experience is needed, and we welcome any interest in design and are looking for people interested in working hands-on and with local communities. Oh, I'll pass it off to Gail to talk about consulting.
Hi guys. Yeah. So consulting was formed in 2022, sort of after the other club. So okay, the start of SHAC was Thimby and then Concrete, formerly SD, coming together, and then a little bit later, consulting was formed to consolidate the best practices from Thimby and the Solar Decathlon team's past projects. So in doing that, we have two internal projects that we've been working on since we started. The framework, which was designed to promote scalability, accessibility, and education from SHAC's past projects, and basically be able to replicate future work that SHAC has done in the past from with Thimby and the Solar Decathlon team. So the framework was based off of LEAD and JUST frameworks, and is designed around environment, health and wellness, social justice, and operations as like the four core values that we then like evaluate SHAC's projects with. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so we also have started creating a playbook, which is sort of serving as like a living document of all of SHAC's work, similar to an architecture playbook. And it also contains like all of SHAC's best practices from its previous projects consolidated into one space so that like future members can see how we've done things in the past and be able to promote the work and then like replicate it, and yeah, consolidating all of its best practices. Also on the screen, you can see some of our previous projects. So SHAC and Erie was a 4-month-long curriculum that we developed to teach high schoolers about sustainable design principles. We went to McClymonds High School in Oakland and taught this. And then the C40 design competition was a urban design competition we did 2 springs ago. And we actually won first place for the city of Curitiba, Brazil. We designed an innovation hub for the city and also redesigned parts of the neighborhood to promote green infrastructure and sustainable development. Small House Inc. was the development of a 70-page life skills handbook. Small House is a nonprofit actually based in Boston, and it's focused on transitioning foster youth into permanent supportive housing. And then the construction enforcement referral is actually still going on, and we're working with the Zero Waste Commission with the city of Berkeley on this one to develop an enforcement mechanism for construction and demolition waste to go to basically to be diverted to recycling facilities rather than going to transfer stations to become waste, because currently the city of Berkeley is not meeting California state diversion requirements as part of like California Green Building Code. but there's nothing that can be done about that because there's no enforcement for that regulation. So this is ongoing, and we expect for it to be passed by City Council next spring. Like, we have the referral and report actually already ready for it, but there's another referral that has to be written, and yeah, this one is ongoing. So upcoming projects for the fall semester, we have the community burden equity map. This is also with the city of Berkeley. This will be using GIS to map areas of Berkeley that are disproportionately affected by environmental pollution, other socioeconomic variables. We're really looking for people with GIS skills for this project, but also, yeah, other spots are open for that one as well. The space allocation ordinance is developing a city ordinance similar to the C&D city ordinance to create like a standardized area on streets for waste receptacles. The street intervention program audit is in connection with the Coalition on Homelessness in San Francisco. So this is actually a new project that we sourced over the summer, and we're working with the Coalition on Homelessness to basically write a report on the street responses in the city to homelessness crisis hotlines. Peach can answer more questions on this one as well because he's part of this program or part of the project. But basically, the new mayor has started a new program that is more criminalizing of street responses, and we're trying to see how this program has changed response to street. Peach, if you want to like add in more about that one, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of. I'm not doing it justice right now, but
Worries about that. So basically, the new mayor, Daniel Leary, who ran on a public safety platform and got elected as mayor and actually has a pretty high approval rating, believe it or not, 7%. His response to homelessness crisis, like with regards to 911, is the Street Crisis Response Team, otherwise known as SCIRT. It's run by the San Francisco Fire Department and has a paramedic and a community worker on board. One problem with that is that even though, in theory, that team is supposed to divert calls away from police-based responses, by virtue of it being a 911 response, police can still get involved in the response, right? So we're basically looking at police dispatch codes and call volumes to see, like, okay, the mayor and the current admin are putting a bunch of money towards public safety and homelessness 911 response. Where is it going? What are its effects? Are police dispatches with respect to specific homeless related calls, things like, welfare checks, loitering, stuff like that, are they going up? Are they going down? Stuff like that, right? So it's basically auditing where the money is going and what are the effects of the renewed focus on public safety and homelessness response. We can talk about this more after this info session during the Q&A portion.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tabish. And then the C&D enforcement referral is also going to be continued into this semester to finish that one up as well. So why join SHAC Consulting? If you're interested in environmental regulation and policy work, real world projects with this, and working on projects over longer periods of time, we develop long lasting relationships with the people that we work with. Specifically with the city of Berkeley, we've been working with them for over like 3 years now, and we've really gotten to know the people there, and I think it's really valuable in having those kinds of connections and like really seeing projects through from beginning until like actual implementation. We don't just like work with a group for a semester and then like give them our thoughts and then leave. We're there for like every step of the process of implementing our solutions to different projects. If you're interested in urban planning, zoning, building certification programs, we pay for our members to get LEED certified. So if that's something you're interested in, yeah, we'd love to have you join consulting. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, so specifically this semester, we really are interested in people with GIS, any kind of data science and statistics experience for the community burden map project. And also a couple of our other projects are going to have some data analysis. So that would be really helpful. Otherwise, if you're passionate about environmental work, housing policy, policy development and implementation, each of our projects is usually so we have a meeting and then during our meetings we break up into project teams and those are about an hour long each week and it's usually about 3 to 4 hours of work outside of the meetings for each project and then depending on which project you're on you may have to meet with that project outside of the designated meeting times as well. um, yeah, and then if you're someone that is interested in any of the projects I've described like specifically, please apply. We would love to have you. We really like it when people are like specifically interested in different projects that we're working on. Yeah, that's a huge plus.
Awesome. I can take over for media and outreach. My name's Jenna, I'm media director this year and last year, and I'm a CD major in legal studies. But I can talk more about what media does for SHAC. Media basically just amplifies the SHAC's message. We try to post graphics from all three teams, so just really uplifting what they do, their mission, their goals, what they've accomplished. We do lots of like updates, whether that be in Thimby or Concrete. And then something like essential for media this year will be having someone specific to Thimby. So taking videos, taking pictures, doing interviews with people on site, getting their hands dirty really, and just being on the build site, I think to really show the progress of the build from start to finish. And we really and then you can go ahead. The second part of media is outreach. So we work a lot with outside organizations, whether that be the nonprofits, the people who are sponsoring us, who give us their products to work with. We like to highlight them and really show our support and show how they can be effective because they're just using us to kind of get more information out about their product and how well it works for savings. This was an article that got published in the Richmond Standard about the Thimby House last year. And so we really were just looking for people who either are writers, videographers, photographers who are interested in graphics. We want to make SHAC your method of using your talents and just like tunneling it that way. SHAC isn't here to produce like a one size fits all media. We really try to embrace what you guys can bring to the table and highlight your talents, not necessarily like fit you into a box. Yeah. And then this is some cool stuff we were up to last semester. We did a whole website rebrand, so we'll definitely be working on that, revamping it, making it technical and like pretty to look at. But then another cool project is we worked with the Circ Space and some seniors who are graduating on their project, and it was to make a storybook for children in East Palo Alto schools who a lot of the children in that area are either minorities or come from undocumented families. So just showing them that it's safe to be out in green spaces, to show them like you can find community in nature, especially throughout the ice raids. So this was just kind of helpful book to teach them more about the area that they live in and give them firsthand like experience and show them how they can really get involved. And it was a really great way for the media team to use their skills and do something fun outside of the box, not just posting graphics to Instagram or stories, stuff like that. Yeah, every skill has its place. That's something that I really try to emphasize as director. I really just try to use what the skills that you have and then kind of base the projects around that. So looking for things that you're interested in. We had someone on media a few years ago who had a drone and was really interested in drone work. So we were able to utilize that with the Bee House and get like a bunch of different angles, and it was super awesome. We did an interview last year with the council member from Richmond, and she got to talk about houselessness and the house or the Libby house and just kind of get some more information on that, spotlight SHAC in different ways. Yeah. And yeah, this is kind of stuff we're going to be continuing this year. Always just looking for different ways to spotlight SHAC and show off the different cool stuff that we do.
Yeah, one thing I really like about SHAC as well is that, I mean, especially if you're like an underclassman, it gets to be sometimes a little difficult to find a sense of community amongst this pretty large campus, right? Especially with classes that have hundreds of people, or discussion sections that just might be a slog to get through. I remember my freshman year, I was like really interested in like hands-on work, like building stuff like that, right? And I found out about SHAC that they were building a house, right? So I was like, oh, word, that's pretty cool. And one of my favorite parts about SHAC was heading out to the build sites and just like talking to people, socializing, kind of finding that shared sense of purpose, right? And I think that's really valuable, and it's certainly one thing that you will find whatever sub team you join, whether it's SIMBY, Concreate, media, consulting. There's definitely going to be that shared like mindset, that shared goal that everybody's reaching towards. So it's really nice stuff. And we also, as a club, really like going camping and having like retreats and socials outdoors.
Shout out Champing.
Yes, we go shamping a lot, which is a portmanteau of shack and camping, shamping. Um, and we usually have shamping trips like once or twice a year. So if you're really interested in like going camping and having good food, I, for example, really like to cook with the Dutch oven during shamping. Like you heat a pile of coals and like you literally bake stuff in a like a oven, if we're calling it that, in a campfire. Pretty cool stuff. If you want to have good food while camping, SHAC is definitely the club for you. And we also have a lot of people in the club who are also part of Chaos. So if you need like a hiking buddy, SHAC is also a pretty great place to find those.
Yes, so for meetings, we have general meetings once a month, usually the first week of the semester, and those will be in Worcester 170 from 6 to 7 p.m. Thinking meetings will be on Wednesdays also from 7 to 8, consulting meetings 8 to 9, and media meetings on Friday from 5 to 6. And Concrete is also 7 to 8. So this is the recruitment timeline. If you have any team-specific questions, you can contact these emails listed on the right. And then you can scan this QR code to apply to our application that is due September 7th at 11:59 p.m. Yeah. But thank you guys for coming to the info session. This is our last slide. And if you have any questions, feel free to stay behind and we'll be happy to talk with you.
Yeah, for sure. This is once again to capture for the recording. Our application can also be accessed at bit.ly/ SHAC F25, all lowercase. That is bit.ly/ SHAC F25, all lowercase. All right, let me stop the recording.